Jags, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Put some respect on my name.
First and foremost, my numbers are better than 15, 16 or so guys that are currently in the Hall.
Here's the handoff to Taylor, looking for some cut back. He finds some room, looking at Fred go. He's across the 30, look at him run. Fred's going. He's at the 50, the 40.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
20, 10, 5, touchdown. 80 yards, Fred Taylor.
Talking modern day guys at my position.
When my name come up, respect it. Stop playing with my name. I ain't gonna right on it.
And here's the handoff to Fred, looking for the cutback. He's got room right in the middle 10. Fred's there. He's at the 20. Fred's on the run to the 25 to the 30. He's going 40. Fred 50. Fred 40. Fred 30. Fred 25, 20.
Y'all saying my name, put some respect on it.
You look at the guys that are in the Hall of Fame from a defensive standpoint. Ray Lewis, Derrick Brooks. Look at all these other guys they're trying to put in the Hall of Fame.
Gerard on the give. Here's Taylor.
Put some respect.
Busting through. Fred Taylor making a cut. Taylor is gone. Touchdown, Jacksonville.
These the same dudes that I murked every Sunday.
When my name come up, respect it. Stop playing with my name. I ain't gonna right on it.
But he knows he doesn't have a big play team, and Jacksonville does. Draw play. Taylor skips 2 tackles. Right, and here we go. Yeah. Bye-bye. Brock Marion chasing. Brock Marion still chasing. Gets help from Smith. Touchdown. No flags. A 90-yard run.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
Welcome into Mock Draft Wednesday on Jaguars Today. But first, Tony Smith, Brock Marion is still chasing.
Yeah.
After 25 years, he still has not caught Fred Taylor, and Gary Walker is still picking pieces of Dan Marino out of his teeth. At this point in time. Today is the 25th anniversary of 62-7. So suck it, Dolphin fans. That's all I got to say to you this morning. What a triumphant peak moment in Jaguar football that was.
Yeah, it was an awesome moment. Obviously, one we reflect on plenty around here. Looking back at that
score
team.
out, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Back in 1999, unfortunately, we know how that season ended.
I don't like to,
but we're not celebrating that today.
Focus in on this game, Tone.
But it is among the moments in franchise history. You know, you put that one right next to those couple of wins in the playoffs in '96. Right, as big of an underdog as they were in both those games in 1996, it is crazy that they found a way to get to the AFC Championship game. But that was the divisional round here at home, and one of the 3 AFC Championship games that the team has played in.
Yeah, it was the peak of Jaguar dominance. I mean, you don't beat teams by 55 points like that. Dan Marino was outpassed by 2 different Jaguar quarterbacks that day. Marino threw for 95 yards in that game. Mark Brunell threw 105. He only was 5 of 9, a couple of touchdowns. Let's get you out of there. Jay Fiedler, come on in, 7 of 11. Jags only threw it 20 times. Only completed 12 passes on the day. Threw for 263 with 4 touchdowns in the contest. Everybody on the Jags practically outrushed anybody on the Miami Dolphins. Freddie T, 135. James Stewart, 62. Chris Howard at 54. All 3 scored touchdowns. Leading rushers for Miami, Stanley Pritchett and Autry Denson tied with 10 yards in that game. Yeah. I mean, it was miserable. They had one guy, Aronde Gadsden, over 30 yards receiving in the contest. So 25 years of remembering that dominance against the Miami Dolphins. Look, one day, hopefully, Jags will win a Super Bowl by the skin of their teeth, and it'll be the greatest game in franchise history.
Easily.
Right?
Yeah.
But this is a pretty strong contender for that, obviously. All right, so it is Mock Draft Wednesday. And I heard you talking to the fellas. I, like you, have never done a full 7-round mock draft before because I kind of like, and I ran into it again with this same issue. You know you're getting guys in these mock drafts that realistically you don't know where they're going to land. You're probably overdrafting some by several rounds. You're probably underdrafting some by several rounds. So I don't ever think it's, people have sent me mocks in the past, and I'm like, I appreciate it. What I look for are the positions that you're addressing more so than the players, because it's tough to know what players are going to be there.
Yeah, and I kind of governed myself with this kind of thing, but it's like especially the first 4 rounds of that mock draft on there, you could have traded 15 times if you wanted to. And I said, that's not real. right? Like, I'm not going to play that kind of game. Like I said in my own head, I was like 2 or 3. Like, that's the reality, right? The reality of a draft is going to be 2 or 3 trades is what you're going to happen at kind of max, that highest level. So, no, I'm not going to do the trade that could land me, wind up landing me 15 picks in next year's draft. But It's just not real. That's not how the NFL draft is going to work. Not that my draft is real, but it's more realistic than taking every trade opportunity that I could have taken advantage of in it, but I did take a couple.
You wonder, though, how many trade offers teams do get that they're just like, nah, we're not interested in moving down that far, so it's like a non-starter.
Yeah.
Because that happened to me on some occasions. Look, we'll try some different ones. I think PFF has a mock draft simulator and others, but we went with Pro Football Network today, and so we're all operating off the same page here. Myself, Tony, and Dylan each did a 7-round mock, and there were times, it's fun. You're sitting there, your pick comes up, you have 3 trade offers. Well, let's take a look at them, and you can just check them all out side by side by side.
Sure.
Reject them all, accept one, whatever you want to do. So it was kind of fun, and I did, like somebody got several mocks already sent in, which we appreciate greatly. I'll look at Jag War here, Jonathan, on Twitter. Sent in the first one we received this morning, and I don't have an issue with what he did. Like, he consolidated. He ended up with only 6 picks in the draft because he was trading up instead of trading back. I'm a big trade back guy. He took Travis Hunter with his first pick. Nobody's going to balk if you take Travis Hunter if he's available for you at number 5. He did his on Pro Football Network as well. Here's the one that I had issues with. Not with him, because you're allowed to – look, maybe we'll set some parameters. I saw Baxter, one of our guys, our regulars, sent one in and said, hey, this one I operated as if everyone's free agent is going to leave, everyone under contract is going to stay, which is probably a good, baseline to start with. But the one guy in particular, Will Campbell, the offensive lineman out of LSU, I noticed in playing around with the mock draft simulator, here he's available at pick 20, pick 25. Now, that's not to say things might not change between now and the draft, but most people out there have him as, let's say, a top 12 prospect, and that may be conservative, right? But certainly not going to last much longer. He's considered one of the top couple of offensive linemen in the draft. And in this case, Jonathan went and traded up back into the first round at 31, and he had fallen all the way down there. Hey, look, if you could get Travis Hunter and Will Campbell, I'd be all about it. You got Deion Walker, defensive tackle out of Kentucky, in the early 3rd. He got Jalen Reed, a safety out of Penn State, at pick 88. At pick 96, he went with Jared Wilson, the center out of Georgia, and Shamar Turner, a defensive tackle out of Texas A&M, at pick 115. So that was the first one we received this morning. We'll check in on the various ones we get, which ones we like, which ones we don't. And again, it's more of a fun exercise, and it's going to hopefully help us and maybe you as well learn more about some of these prospects, because each guy I drafted, I came the way I did it. I figured, look, I'm going to have 10 minutes in the real NFL draft. I took Pro Football Focus's rankings of the players because sometimes there was a thumbnail on Pro Football Network. Sometimes there wasn't. So I'm like, okay, what's available to me? What have I drafted? I could use a safety. I could use a corner, whatever. And so I see who's available, and I would cross-reference it with PFF's list to see if I was kind of getting value on these guys. So, and in the process, hopefully learned a little bit more about some guys who, chances are won't end up here in Jacksonville, but might end up in Jacksonville.
Yeah. I think I learned how to say T-Mac's name.
How?
Tetaroa.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, Tetaroa.
Right? Everyone in the fantasy community is already calling him Tet McMillan, which I hadn't heard.
No.
And maybe that's what he goes by. I don't know. And somebody brought it up, and I'm like, when did Jalen McMillan get a new nickname? I had no idea who he was talking about. So you can call him Tetaroa, you can call him Tet, you can call him McMillan. We'll see if Tony drafted him. But he certainly knows how to pronounce his name now.
Yeah, I do know how to pronounce his name.
He is a part of our Chad and Sandy Real Estate question of the day. Today, however, we're taking Travis Hunter out of it for today. There are going to be all kinds of permutations to these. And I get, like, when I say yesterday, was it yesterday we did Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are not available. It might have been Monday,
yeah.
Right? And somebody said, I wouldn't take Travis Hunter anyway. And that's fine, right? But there are many scenarios where those guys will both be off the board. So we're just trying to create scenarios for you to play along with if you're into the NFL draft. And we are. Unfortunately, we're into it too early every single year. Much rather be going, we'll worry about the draft in mid-February. That's not where we're at right now. So today's question today, if the Jacksonville Jaguars selection with the 5th pick in this year's draft came down to these 4 players, which one would you prefer? And these are alphabetically by last name. You got defensive end Abdul Carter out of Penn State. You got defensive tackle Mason Graham out of Michigan. You got corner Will Johnson out of Michigan. And you've got wide receiver Teteroa McMillan out of Arizona. So you can call him Tet. You can call him Big Nasty. Yeah. I don't care what you call him.
I know like a couple weeks ago when we were starting to, really start digging into the draft stuff, I was trying to find a video where someone would say his name.
Yes.
Right? So I'm watching like play-by-play highlights, and they just keep calling him T-Mac. I'm like, you're helping no one.
Right.
Right? Like, T-Mac doesn't help me.
It's probably easier for them. Even if they know how to say it, it's a mouthful.
I get it. Like, the play-by-play guy isn't going to go to it, so I was finally...
Teteroa McMillan
here
with a 5-yard game.
Right. Sometime in the last couple days, I was like, how do you say this guy's name? And so I did find a video where someone was doing, like, a draft profile of him, and it's like Teteroa McMillan. I was like, all right, Teteroa. All right.
I've looked at over the years, like, I try to be as accurate as I can pronouncing people's name. It's your name, right? Yeah. It's like the basic amount of respect that we can give you. And it goes back, we were talking with David Garrard on his last day in with us, that, back in the day, we literally banned people from calling, and we'd hung up on them as soon as they said David Garrard.
Yes.
Like, he's your starting quarterback. I'm not saying you have to know the pronunciation of every player in the National Football League, but your starting quarterback is not named Brian Leftwich.
Yep.
It's not named David Garrard. I don't know what you would mistake Trevor Lawrence for, honestly.
That'd be a tough one to mess up.
That's pretty simple as far as that goes. There's no obvious transposing of names there. Anyway, so you can vote on the poll on social media. Hop on and check us out there at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark. That's what I like to hear. How are you this morning, Mr. Denmark?
Mike, I messed up.
What happened?
Man, the mock draft, I picked 2 guys that are coming back to college.
You get squat on their rights for a year, or how's that work?
That's what I was going to do, like Bo Jackson. That was my first thought.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work that way. Bo didn't go back to school. He just decided not to go play for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, but the Bucs had his rights.
They did have his rights for a year. That is correct when they drafted him. But that's okay. You know what? We're going to have these kind of mistakes the first week. You got if you drafted Trevor Etienne, you're lucky because he went back in the pool, right? Like he had pulled himself out. Now he's back in. There's that pass rusher from Penn State with the hyphenated name that goes somewhere at the end of the second, early third in a lot of these mocks. I don't have to worry about knowing what his full name is until next year. He's going back to school. So that's okay. We'll allow it. Again, it's the baseline today of us learning more about this draft class and more about the conversation of what this Jaguar team needs. What kind of holes are you looking to fill for them? So that was part of the process as we went through it again today as well. So if you'd like to get in today and discuss the NFL draft from a Jaguar perspective, that's what we're going to lean into heavily. And we will hear a little bit from Trevor Lawrence a little bit later on in the program as well. You can do that at 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hop in the YouTube virtual studio chat as well. Chad Ryder is going to kick things off with us from NFL.com, one of their draft insiders there, just to kind of give us an overall feel for the depth and quality of this draft and which positions you can be dipping into later and still get high-end players and potential starters further on down the line. So he'll join us next. We'll go through every mock draft that gets submitted to us today. We'll try to at least read through the picks, give you some credit for taking the time to do it, and we appreciate you playing along there. And we'll get into ours beginning at about 40 after the hour. So trade, don't trade, whatever you want to do. You want to draft 6 defensive tackles? That's up to you. But how would you build the Jacksonville Jaguars based on the capital that you have at this present time? Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark here with you. Glad you're along on Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
I just want you to meet some people and find out whatever you can about them.
What type of people?
Dangerous, dirty,
tattooed, uncivilized, your kind of people.
1010XL.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Florida's weather is unpredictable. Don't let the Epic Chill catch you off guard. For reliable heating services, call Epic Cool Heating and Air. Keep your home cozy all season long. Call 904-859-EPIC. 904-859-3742.
Kick off the new year with a new look for your home. It's the Renewal by Andersen New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% on their energy-efficient windows and patio doors, designed to keep your home comfortable all year. Plus, zero down, no payments, and 0% interest for 12 months. Offer expires January 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
North Florida is growing with lots of new families joining our community. If you're one of them making the move here, your next move should be a call to American Electrical to create the best home automation system, enhancing your living experience. There are many ways your life can be made easier through smart home technology, voice-activated systems, automated lighting, total house temperature control. With American Electrical, they've got everything you need to automate your home and make it your true oasis. Check out American-Electrical.com. Powered by professionalism and raising the excellence bar.
Jags Hall of Famer Tony Baselli puts on his gold jacket every Monday morning at 7:20 on The Drill.
Does look good.
It's Hall of Fame Monday with Tony Baselli.
Good? It's great.
Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida on 1010XL.
The Golf Club of Southampton has plenty going on, from a great round to a round with your buds, soaking up some football and great grub. Every Saturday and Sunday at Southampton, enjoy their game day special. Wings tossed in your favorite sauce and a cold pitcher of beer. Membership opportunities to take advantage of, too. Join Southampton with a paid initiation, and you'll get a $500 gift card. Perfect for golf, pro shop purchases, or the clubhouse. Check it out. It's all happening at the Golf Club of Southampton.
Making a difference in our community for 2025? Paul Martinez here, President and CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. The Boys and Girls Clubs offers a safe environment to youth every day with homework assistance, a hot meal, career readiness, and character and leadership programs. 57% of club alumni say the Boys and Girls Club saved their lives. Help us grow our outreach as we serve the kids in our community throughout our 59 clubs. Go to bgcnf.org to donate and learn more.
Homeowners, listen up. It's time to start fresh in 2025. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here to help take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payments and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto now. Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA.
Youth Sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Make a resolution this new year to send all of your friends or family a Kuhn Flowers floral arrangement. Or how about just sending one person you love a floral arrangement? Kuhn Flowers can handle it all.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Yeah, baby. Here we go. First ever mock draft Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Could have been doing it for years, Tony. We opted, for whatever reason, not to.
Yeah.
But we are hip deep. Chad Ryder at NFL.com thinks he's the only one who could pull off a 7-round mock.
Well, he's doing it for all 32.
This is true.
Fair.
All right. Yeah. We're just doing it for the Jags. Doggone it. But Chad does a very good job, by the way, at those mocks. Yeah. Somebody wish me happy MLK Jr. Day. Today's his birthday. I think next Monday is the official observance of it, though. Usually the third Monday in January. There you go. Thank you, Coach Denmark.
Yeah, no school Monday.
Is that right?
That's correct.
My wife will be delighted at that. All right. So let's welcome in Mr. Chad Ryder from NFL.com, NFL Media. Chad, happy draft season to you, sir. Thanks for your time, as always. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It is starting to be that time of year, that's for sure. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we are as well. Unfortunately, it's what we have to look forward to in these parts.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Chad, every time that I saw Cam Little take the field to attempt a 55-yard field goal this year, I was going back to the conversation we had with you after they drafted, and we were like, and they took a kicker in the 6th round, and you were like, wait a minute. And told us what was going on with Cam Little. He was awesome this year, man.
Yeah, I was happy that he got to show, what he actually, Will Ricard with the Vikings when he was healthy did a good job. And the kicker from Josh Carty did a good job too this year. So, the kickers, are kicking this year. It's nice to see.
Yeah, it's not a position that necessarily turns over a lot because there's always a handful of veterans waiting in the wings to take that spot. All right, let's focus in on this year, Chad. I've heard from different analysts that this is not a premium draft, right? Like taking the quarterbacks out of it. Jags don't need a quarterback. We presume a couple of them will go high at least. How many A+ or A-level players are there? How many premium guys? What range do you need to be in to feel very confident you're going to get a premium player in this year's draft?
I think there's a solid 10-12 guys. I mean, I think there's a pretty good group at the top of the draft this year, actually. And, the quarterbacks are always going to be a point of contention, and the guys that will be picked early this year certainly have some room for improvement in some areas. But honestly, there's a lot of really talented players. We're not even talking about a guy like Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State, as a top 10 pick. He could very easily be a top 10 pick. You got to love a guy like Abdul Carter, the edge from Penn State. He's fantastic. Will Campbell's going to be a really good left tackle coming out of LSU. There's a bunch of guys. And Ashton Jeanty, the running back out of Boise State, he could be taken anywhere from 6 to 12. So I think there's a pretty good 10-12 players that are going to be impact-type players at the next level.
As we begin the conversation about this year's draft class, what do you feel like are the strongest and weakest positions in this year's draft?
lot of good edge rushers this year, and I think that's a really strong part. Offensive line is going to be pretty strong, through the first couple of days as well. Receiver, not as much. This is not as strong a group. The last, a couple of years recently, they've been loaded up in the top 100 with receivers. Probably be less than usual this year. Tight end's a strong group. Linebackers, not so good. It's a little bit of everything in this draft, but really offensive line, defense. Actually, I should say defensive line as a whole, because defensive tackles a lot of them could go off the board late first into the second round and even into the third round that, are starter quality. So really the offensive defensive lines are really the top things in this draft.
Travis Hunter, right? Is he a wide receiver? Yeah. Is he a corner? How do you evaluate him? I don't think he'll play nearly the amount two-way. He might dabble on both sides. I hear a lot of people say corner dabbling in wide receiver. We had Tony Pauline on, a Sportskeeda, who we appreciate his opinion a lot. He thinks wide receiver dabbling in corner. How would you evaluate him?
That's what I think. I think, honestly, if you have a choice for a guy, I think you want him at receiver because he can really affect every play, even if he doesn't get the ball. And corners are almost the opposite in terms of, you can stay away from a corner if you really want to. So in terms of total impact, I think he will play receiver primarily. However, it really is going to depend on the team he ends up on. And some team may have a real need for a corner and then bring him in on offense, as needed. So it's really going to be situation dependent. But that guy is special as a receiver. And honestly, he probably should have won the Blitnikoff and the Jim Thorpe Award this year, but they didn't put him on the finalist list for the Jim Thorpe Award for some reason. So that's a rare guy, and he should be the top non-quarterback taken.
Do you feel like when you're evaluating Travis Hunter, do you think if he was just being evaluated as a wide receiver or a corner in this year's draft class, would he be the best player at either of those positions if that is what he was exclusively?
Yes. I think he's the best player at both positions, regardless of what he's done.
Interesting.
I mean, I just think he's that talented, ball skills, speed, football intelligence, and I've never heard a bad word about the guy ever. So I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that.
We're starting to familiarize ourselves with a lot of the names that are projected to go in the top 10, whether they're top 10 overall. The quarterbacks, again, you may not have in the top 10, but they're going to go in Ward and Shedeur Sanders. You see a lot of Will Johnson and Hunter, Tet McMillan and Mason Graham and Abdul Carter, Kelvin Banks. We mentioned Will Campbell, maybe Ashton Genty. So is there a name that I didn't just say that you're really high on that you think maybe will be a surprise to some people right now?
Yeah, Tyler Warren from Penn State as a top 10 pick is a real possibility. Mm-hmm. The other guy is Luther Burden from Missouri, the wide receiver, and his numbers were down this year. Missouri did not exactly have a strong vertical passing attack this year, and I'm not sure why they stopped throwing to him downfield. His average depth of target was less than 4 yards in 5 different games, and I don't know if they didn't trust their line. Brady Cook's not a terrible quarterback, so they just didn't really – they tried to get him the ball early to let him use his after-the-catch ability. I understand that, but he's a guy I think that's a little – could still be a top 10 pick at this point. We're not really talking about right now, but I think teams see his coming into the year. We did, and I think sometimes we see production during the year and kind of forget about a guy, but then when we get to the combine, he's going to be there. So I think Warren and Burden are the two guys I think they have a shot.
Do you think both quarterbacks will wind up being drafted before the Jags are on the clock at 5?
Yeah, I think so. I think they. I want to say they should, although a lot of people may disagree with me on that. I think they should be. I think people put too high of expectations on these college quarterbacks, and we've seen so many guys now that, given the opportunity to come in and learn and do things, and they improve. You have to give them an opportunity to improve in certain areas. And certain guys like Cam Ward, for example, yes, he will throw late across his body at times and make mistakes like that. But if you watch any games on Sunday, you see a lot of NFL quarterbacks still doing. I mean, guys do that. They're trying to make plays, and so I think Sanders is really excellent in the pocket. Ward can do a bit of everything. So I think teams that need quarterbacks will take them early and should take them early. And Jalen Milroe, by the way, isn't that far behind.
Okay.
So I think he's another guy. I don't think you actually mention him as a top 10 guy. But I'm not going to be surprised if people consider him, the Raiders consider him, for example, something like that. I think he's going to be in that conversation depending on how his postseason stuff goes, what teams, when they're talking to coaches, what do they say about him, workouts and that kind of stuff. So I think he's in that conversation.
Put the word out. If you want Milroe, you got to get into the top 4, okay? Because all the quarterbacks that go in the first 4, we're all in favor of that. Chad,
right.
For now, let's wrap up with this. What is a position that's weak, or a couple of positions, or like maybe it's got 1 or 2 good players or premium players, but you need to get them early if you're going to get help at those spots?
Yeah, you got to get your receivers in the first, 40 picks, probably, is one of the main one, I would say. Maybe corner as well. There's a little more depth there. But really the skill positions on the outside this year are ones you're going to want to try to jump on early if you can.
All right. Fair enough. Chad Reiter, you can find on Twitter or X at Chad_Reiter, REUTER. Go check out his work over at NFL.com, where he's been toiling for quite a while. And hopefully he'll be a regular visitor with us here on Jaguars Today throughout draft season as well. Chad, always appreciate your work. I'll look forward to those first mocks starting to come out from you. And thanks for the time as always.
Thanks, appreciate it. And if this is toiling, I'm okay with it.
Really. Right on, brother. Hey, ain't that the truth? Don't tell anybody. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, bud. There you go. Chad Reiter out the door. Exactly. Who doesn't love talking a little draft? Let's dig in to some of those mocks, including some of the ones that keep coming into us. Got a few here on the text line as well as Twitter, so we'll jump on some of those, and then we'll let you know how we fared in our first go-round at a 7-round mock draft for your Jacksonville Jaguars. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Breakfast time, absolutely. You could eat a little breakfast in the morning, most important meal of the day. You can have breakfast in the middle of the afternoon. You can have breakfast as a late-night snack. Danny's got you covered, whatever you're hungry for, at whatever time of day. Just swing into an area gate station. Maybe fill up the tank, but definitely fill up your belly with some deliciousness from the Dandy and Anytime Deli line of sandwiches and subs. But sandwiches and subs just doesn't go far enough. Full line of breakfast items. Love their French toast. They've got so many other things that you could possibly imagine. They've got protein packs, quick pick-me-up on the go. They've got veggie trays and fruit cups and gourmet salads. Just swing in there, head to the fresh case. You'll be amazed at the variety. You won't be amazed because it's all made with the highest quality ingredients that Danny can find. A local company that continues to thrive after nearly 7 decades on the First Coast. When you're hungry in Duval, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy and do it today.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios, 1010XL.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise and towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning has your back. Start the year fresh. No leaks, no clogs, no excuses. Call Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769 today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Don't just wait for the big game. Bet on big playoff games every weekend. Only on Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us and turn playoff predictions into paydays. If your team season is already over,
looks like they're headed home early.
It only takes $1 to make any game interesting. Download Hard Rock Bet. Win your first bet or get up to $100 back in bonus bets. Payable in bonus bet up to $100. Not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
D1 Training East Jacksonville invites you to their mega NFL football camp at the Bowl School February 1st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Ages 7 through 16. Get hands-on coaching from former NFL players at every single station. The coaches lineup put together by Connor and Sam at D1 is proudly sponsored by Tim Tebow. To sign up, call 904-901-6470.
What is the busiest airport in the world?
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport is the busiest airport in the world, serving over 100 million passengers.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Join me, Max Fink, as I keep a close eye on everything that happens in Gator Nation.
The Gator Report, polished up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators!
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while. Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PEC to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text PEC to 321-321. That's PEC to 321-321.
All right, gang, I'm just going to level with you. Prosser here. There are not the problems associated with selling your home that you might think that there would be. There are solutions for sure. Your home sold guaranteed, or they will buy it. Who's they? It's Chad and Sandy Newman at chadandsandy.com. Call Chad and Sandy. They're the agents I would call to sell my home. And by the way, potential problems you think you may have. Maybe you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. Chad and Sandy deliver with a promise. They guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. We got proof. David and Heather, Fox Ridge and Orange Park. We wanted to move to Keystone Heights, closer to family and away from the city. We heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. It's all true. We got multiple offers and sold in 3 days for $15,000 above asking price. It's that simple. Go to chadandsandy.com or call 904-414-6200.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Oh, yeah, Mock Draft Wednesday, baby. There's so much consternation. This is what the Jags do to you, Tony. They turn friend against friend, brother against brother, sister against sister, and on down the line. Guy, it's just a poll question. What would you do? And we threw 4 options in there. If these were the 4 players the Jags were choosing between, 3 are defensive players, one's an offensive player. Tetaroa or Tet McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. Everyone has him generally as the #1 wide receiver on the board. And many have him mocked right around the 5th pick of the draft. So, right now, 11.9% are voting. That's the direction they want to go. They want to lean into helping out Trevor Lawrence, I guess, on the offensive side. So somebody replied, I guess 11% of the people want us to have the 31st ranked defense again. Well, I mean, not necessarily. I think there are a bunch of other picks.
Yeah, chill, man.
And you can still listen to Tony telling you to chill, man. That's about as strong as Tony will rebuke you on the program right there. But seriously, like,
there's more than one way to get your defense better. It's not just the 5th pick.
Right. Exactly. That's kind of the point. You know, it's not just that pick. It's obviously free agency is going to change all this kind of stuff in terms of team needs and desires, but that's fine. We'll see how things change over time.
No doubt.
If the Jags are smart, they'll just copy my mock draft and then be done with it. So looking at a few of the ones that we got in, somebody on the text line sent 3 different versions. Looks like they only went into the 4th round, and that's fine. And they went 3 different ways. Like, if I went this way to start, here's how it would have worked out. So first one, Tet McMillan at 5. Deion Walker, the defensive tackle out of Kentucky with pick 36. Here's the guy who I mentioned, Danny Dennis Sutton from Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
He's back in school. All right, he took his name out of consideration for the draft. So there are going to be some of these that we come across. He was at pick 69. Ernest Green, offensive tackle out of Georgia at pick 94. Anthony Belton, an offensive tackle out of NC State at 105. And Cam Scatterbo, running back out of Arizona State with pick 131. Let's see. This one here was starting with Mason Graham. Went Shamar Stewart in round 2. The edge out of Texas A&M. Went Kenneth Grant, the other defensive tackle out of Michigan.
Yeah.
I've seen people, like PFF ranks him as a first-round player, by the way. Got him at pick 69. Aronde Gadsden Jr., I toyed around with him in some mock versions. The wide receiver out of Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
Gunnar Helm, a tight end out of Texas. Cam Scatterbo. Ricardo Hellman, a corner out of Wisconsin. And then the final version, Ashton Genty with the 5th pick. That would be bold. Jonah Savaiinea, I'll guess, the offensive tackle out of Arizona. Don't know him. Deion Walker, defensive tackle out of Kentucky. Torrey Holton, wide receiver out of Colorado State. So leaning into the offense with this one. Elijah Arroyo, tight end out of Miami. Jeffrey Bassa, safety out of Oregon. And Braden Swinson, an edge out of LSU. Just wanted to get to 1 or 2 more here because we appreciate you taking the time to do these, right? It's a little bit of a homework assignment. This one from Baxter on Twitter. Will Johnson. I'll go more with position. You know what? Some interesting ones in here. Will Johnson, Jedi Brown, the safety out of Texas. He's been a guy who's been intriguing with that 2nd-round pick. Jack Sawyer, the guy for Ohio State who took the fumble back for the touchdown in the semifinal game, an edge player at pick 69. Grace Zabel, offensive tackle out of North Dakota State. His name might come up again. Jared Wilson, center out of Georgia. Savion Williams, wide receiver out of TCU. He is a big man. Another Cam Scatterbo. Patrick Jenkins, defensive tackle out of Tulane. Seth Coleman, an edge out of Illinois. And Fentrell Cypress, a corner out of Florida State. That'll do it for the moment. So, all right. Who among us here, because we haven't compared notes on these. Did anyone stick and pick with pick number 5?
I did not.
You did not. You traded out. Tony?
Traded.
Okay. What pick did you end up with for the Jags?
6.
So, okay. So you traded down one spot.
Yeah.
What'd you get? What'd you get in the payoff?
Let's see. I got 46 and no, that's not it. What trade am I looking at here? I got 6 and 39 from Las Vegas.
Okay, so you got their 2nd rounder this year.
Yeah.
In mine, they offered me their 2nd rounder next year.
Yeah.
Which I jumped all over.
Yeah.
As well. So I moved back to 6. Where did you end up picking for the Jags, Dylan?
I got 6. They traded. The Raiders gave me the 2nd rounder for next year.
For next year, that's what that same offer I got, right? So you both ended up picking at 6, or did you moving? Okay, I moved down again. So let's start with you, Tony. Who did you take with the 6th overall pick in the draft?
Well, here were the 4 that came off the board before I was even given that opportunity, right? Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. We're 1 to 4. So I had a couple, 2, 3 names in my head. It was like I'd be happy with any of these guys. Essentially there at 5. So I took the trade. Vegas came to 5, took Mason Graham.
Okay.
All right, so the defensive tackle is off the board. So I'm left with the 2 guys that I was considering beyond that, Teteroa McMillan and Will Johnson were the 2 that I was debating in my head. And I do think having the conversation we just had with Chad Ryder about how flimsy basically the depth of the wide receiver class makes the decision I made. I feel even better about it. I did go with Ted McMillan.
Ted McMillan, come on down. Tony's got a pair of Pro Bowl caliber wide receivers on the outside for the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, so that was your process with the first pick. Dylan, what'd you end up doing?
I went with Abdul Carter, the best available. My draft went Shador, Mason Graham to number 2. This mock draft was on some kind of drugs. Going Mason Graham to 2. Cam Ward 3 to the Giants, Travis Hunter to the Patriots, and then Starks, the safety from Georgia, went to the Raiders at 5. I kind of just went with the best available. I know it's not the right fit, and the Jags don't need an edge rusher, but Abdul Carter, if you just watch him just for a little bit when he plays for Penn State, the dude's a game wrecker, and you've always been told that you never have enough defensive linemen for a team, and Abdul Carter definitely adds to this defensive line. Now, how's it all going to shake out if he does come? I don't know. But he's a really good football player.
Yeah, he was gone. My first 4, I don't have the exact order, but they're the same as Tony. The 2 quarterbacks, Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, were gone in mine. And so I'm like you. I was like, I got several guys here that I'd be fine with. And the Raiders said, and it's, again, if you're like, when did the Raiders call you? No, if you go to Pro Football Network, they'll make trade offers based on what these other teams' needs are.
I think there were like 3 offers, and the other 2, if I remember correctly, were like 12 and 18.
Okay, 12 was definitely one. Who was at 12? Was it Dallas? Who's at 12?
Yeah, they're 12.
Yeah. Okay, because eventually, here's what I did. I traded to 6. The Raiders came up one spot. This is where the lack of realism comes in.
Yeah.
They took Ashton Genty with that selection, who they could use.
Yeah.
No question about it. I mean, they could use a guy to build their offense around. There's no question about that if there's not a quarterback that's worth it. But so moving back one spot, no matter who they took, I wasn't going to be too upset. I knew I'd get a really good player. And then I got the offer to move back from 12, and I think what it was I picked up pick 44 in the trade. So I got Dallas' second-round pick to move back to 12. Might have got a flop of other picks a little bit later in that. But looking at it, no, that looks like the only 2 picks that I got as a result of trade. So I picked up a pick in the second round this year, and at 12, Mason Graham was sitting there for me.
Wow.
I know, right? But, at the same time,
those things happen.
Tony Pauline's he's kind of like the 12th best player in his mind, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it can – I was thinking more like I'm probably going to get an offensive lineman with that pick. There'll be a good one there. And then I saw Mason Graham. I'm like, that seems like a no-brainer as the highest-rated defensive tackle. And instead of taking him at 5, I got a second-rounder this year and a second-rounder next year and still got Mason Graham. So, fine with that. All right, so you go on to round number 2.
Round number 2, wherever the Jags were originally at 36.
Correct.
Right? I wound up trading twice in the second round.
Up or down?
Down.
Down.
I went from 36 to 39. I gave pick 180 and got 46 and a second-round pick next year from Atlanta in that trade. And then from 39 to 40, went down one more spot with 39 and 143 going to New Orleans for 20 and 110. In this year's draft. And then I wound up taking offensive guard Wyatt Millham out of West Virginia, who's a guy who it feels like he's going to have to transition. He's played tackle at West Virginia. So if he's going to, it does everywhere I see him, he is talked about as a guard, so it does feel like that's his better fit in the NFL, but that's what I wound up doing at 40. And then at 46, defensive tackle Kenneth Grant out of Michigan was the second round pick.
Okay, so and again, that's a guy who I've already seen ranked as a top 20 overall player. So again, the process a little bit flawed. So you've gone wide receiver, guard, defensive tackle.
Yes.
All right, Dylan, what'd you do in the second round?
I got offered Tampa's 53 in their next year's second round. I said, nah. So I hung up the phone, and I picked Trey Amos, defensive back from Ole Miss. He played at Alabama, and he played at Louisiana. It says he's versatile. It was the best available. I wanted to go guard here, but there's no good guards for value, so I just started with corner.
All right. I didn't write down all the offers I rejected. There were too many of them, right? And a lot of them, I felt like my first few passes, I needed to go with stick and pick more, right? Then, I don't know these players well enough to know if I'm getting good value with doing some of these trades. So after those 2 trades in the first round, I stuck with everything I have. I, like Tony, took Wyatt Millham as well at pick 36. Tony got him at a little better value, but I didn't get a good trade offer when I was sitting on the clock. Read an interview with him. He did play primarily tackle, but says he has been told to work at both guard and center, and that a lot of people do project him as a guard at the next level. So I like the positional versatility that he's got. And remember, I picked up the 44th pick from Dallas in a trade back. And this, I felt like it was like a free pick to play with. And I took defensive end Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M, another guy I've seen mocked in the late first round from a number of sources out there. He's 6'6", 290. Right? So he is a guy that I can envision no matter what scheme the next defensive coordinator wants to play. You could play him as maybe a 3-4 edge. He's almost close to that average size for NFL players. They usually average around 305-ish if they're playing end in a 3-4. He's strong against the run. They describe him as an explosive athlete considering his size. Like he's got the athleticism of a guy 50 pounds lighter is what I read about him. So Pro Football Focus ranked him as the number 20 overall player on their entire board. And so he was sitting there at 44. So I grabbed him. So I've got defensive tackle, hopefully guard in Wyatt Millam or Milam, not sure, and Shamar Stewart, defensive end out of Texas A&M with my next selection in the second round. So let's take a time out here. We'll come back. We still got to go around the league. Got a lot to do. We'll see if we can't run through the remainder of our picks coming up in the next segment. If you've done one or you want to hop on and do one, it doesn't take long. Let's go to Pro Football Network. We got no affiliation with them. We're just using that for this week. We may mix it up in future weeks. There are multiple mock draft simulators out there, and you can set it to fast draft, and before you know it, your pick will be on the clock every single time. Decide if you want to trade or stick and pick and knock it out and send us the results. We'd love to see them so far, and then we'll compare at the end of the day what the three of us have put together for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is Jaguars Today on a mock draft Wednesday on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here. Calling a timeout today to shout out Awaken 180 Weight Loss. 10 years, they just recently celebrated their anniversary, and a decade ago, Paige, their founder, developed a long-term solution for weight loss that can work for anyone, cutting through the misconceptions of lose-weight quick gadgets, fad diets, and medications, and completely revolutionizing the weight loss industry with real results. More importantly, lasting results. Free support for life was and still is the backbone of the Awaken 180 program. And 10 years later, 23,000 plus clients have lost combined 750,000 pounds with a 98+% satisfaction rating. Clients have eliminated the need in some cases for cholesterol medication, blood pressure medication, even type 2 diabetes medications. People like me, your neighbors, friends, your family who wanted to take back control of their weight. You can be the next Awaken 180 success story. Go online, schedule a free consultation at awaken180weightloss.com. That's Awaken 180.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Play-by-play just makes everyday life better.
I did not see this one coming.
Get the most play-by-play on 1010XL. Jacksonville's play-by-play sports radio.
New year, new boat. The Jacksonville Boat Show is January 24th, 25th, and 26th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. Make your boating dream a reality this year. Deals on boats and accessories, fishing seminars, kids events, and more. The Jacksonville Boat Show, presented by ViStar Credit Union. Tickets at boatjacks.com. That's boatjacks.com. Come buy a boat.
Seminole Hard Rock Tampa is excited to bring you live craps, roulette, and sports betting. All under one roof, hotter than the Florida sun. Feel the luck of the dice, watch the roulette wheel spin, and scream for your touchdown as the big screen comes alive. Dine like a rock star, sip cocktails that shimmer, then dive into the heart of Las Vegas right here in Tampa Bay. Live craps, roulette, sports betting is here. Get in on the action now. Only at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa, located off of I-4 near I-75. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
We don't have too many cold nights on the first coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. heater and heat pump repair service, and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
Ready, aim, inspire at the 7th Annual Mackenzie Noel Wilson Foundation Clay Shoot, Thursday, February 20th at Jack's Clay Target Sports. Hi, I'm Paul Martinez, president of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. We've got you covered. Ammo, carts, clays, delicious food, and amazing prizes. Whether you're a sharpshooter or just in it for fun, this event is for you. Support the important work of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida and Mackenzie's Camp Deep Pond. Sign up at bgcnf.org/events.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Hey, Hicken here. Join me and Pross live from the new home of Tyson Sound and Security this Friday morning. Grab a Chick-fil-A breakfast while you check out the golf simulators and home theater setups. Plus, enter for a chance to win a 75-inch Samsung TV with 3D surround sound and wireless subwoofer. Yeah, that's right, subwoofer, including full installation. Come see the drill live this Friday from the brand new showroom at Tyson Sound and Security, 3555 U.S. Highway 17, Fleming Island.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the chairman of Underwoods. With Christmas behind us in 2025 here, the last thing you want to hear is somebody trying to sell you something. That's why at Underwoods, we'd like to just stop and say thank you to all the people that came in our stores over the last year. Whether you bought from us or not, we want to thank you for coming by and giving us the chance to help. You know, in North Florida, there are a lot of people trying to sell you jewelry. But at Underwoods, we consider it an honor for somebody to come in and just give us that chance to help. And if we do a good job, we might get a chance to serve again. Having served North Florida since 1928, all of us here understand what a customer really gives us during that visit to Underwoods, their trust. And it's up to us to do everything we can to keep it. So on behalf of everybody on the Underwood team, thanks again for coming into our stores. And we wish each of you a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, sports fans. Hicken here, and let's keep the skincare talk going while we ring in the new year. You know it's winter, a little cold outside. That sun is still shining, so let's always be reminded to take care of our skin. Beaches Dermatology now has a new location open in Fernandina. So if you live just a little north of Duval, you can now see the pros at Beaches Dermatology without having to make the drive to Jack's. Go online to beachesdermatology.com to book your skincare appointment today. That's beachesdermatology.com.
Hey, John, looking for the perfect family ride?
How about taking your family on a luxury ride with the all-new 2024 Cadillac Escalade?
That sounds amazing. If you're a loyal customer, you get $4,000 off. Or if you're new to Randy Marion, you can get a $3,000 Conquest discount.
And don't forget the 5% savings on retired courtesy transportation vehicles.
You can save over $10,000 on select 2024 Escalade.
Experience the luxury and comfort at Randy Marion Cadillac.
Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
Plus tax tag title $899 admin fee and resist all on approved credit.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by the First Coast YMCA. The biggest highlight of the Jags 2024 season was the emergence of rookie wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. The first-round draft pick finished the season with 87 receptions for 1,282 yards and 10 touchdowns. Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence spoke on the excitement of getting to work and build more chemistry with Brian Thomas Jr. this offseason.
So excited. I mean, this is a bright spot for our team. As hard as the year was and disappointing, I mean, that was not the case with Brian. So to have BT just play how he did down the stretch, to stay healthy, especially when it felt like the last month of the season, we're just feeding him. And it's one, to see him stay healthy, make the plays that he made, continue to shine with all the other stuff going on and not having success as a team. That's impressive.
Trevor Lawrence with Kai Stevens. It's 56 degrees at 10:57. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, we'll go around the league here coming up in a minute. A couple more mocks coming in from our faithful listening audience right there. Let's see. Eric has sent this one. And what did he say? He said he did the first 5 rounds. Will Johnson's been on his radar for a while right now. And in this draft, he was able to trade down to number 9 on the details of how he got there. Took Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan. Took our guy, Wyatt Milam. I'm going to go with Milam. I don't know. I didn't watch a whole lot of West Virginia football.
No, yeah.
Got to admit, but it seems like he's a guy.
And they're probably not saying the tackle's name all that much if you did.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. So he seems like a guy that may be in the conversation, really, for the Jags, in terms of need and value from what a lot of sites feel. He went with pick 36. Matthew Golden, the wide receiver out of Texas, at pick 40. Obviously, part of the might have been a package deal where you traded down to 9. You got 40 in the deal. Kevin Winston Jr., safety out of Penn State. Jared Ivey, edge rusher out of Ole Miss, pick 88. Dylan Sampson, the running back out of Tennessee. Luke Lachey, a tight end out of Iowa. You can really rarely go wrong with an Iowa tight end.
Correct.
And Marcus Embo, the offensive tackle out of Purdue, were his selections. I had one more that I just got in here a minute ago from Ed. And let's see, his rules were no trades at this time. Focus on defense, grab some flyers at the end. He says, no, I'm not a Notre Dame fan. It just worked out that way. So let's see how it worked out. He's stuck with, these are all the Jags' original picks. Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan. Wyatt Milam, here we go. Come on down. Ashton Gillette, an edge rusher out of Louisville. Jalen Reed, the Penn State safety at pick 88. Lander Barton, linebacker out of Utah. Shamar Turner, defensive tackle from Texas A&M. Raheem Sanders, running back out of South Carolina. Nafoa Fia Tulifono, all right. Center out of Wyoming. That's in the ballpark. Riley Leonard, the Notre Dame quarterback, and Mitchell Evans, the Notre Dame tight end, with picks 220 and 249. So, developmental backup quarterback. All right, Tone, just catch us up. We're into round 3. Catch us up at the positions that you've addressed so far in your draft.
Wide receiver in the first round, offensive guard. If Milam, I guess, is an offensive guard.
We're drafting him as a guard.
And defensive tackle with the second of those second-round picks that I had. Into the third round, we go, and this is where I address a position that a lot of people address very early in this draft, cornerback. Dorian Strong out of Virginia Tech. He's not the biggest guy, right? But what the draft profile does say, he's a pretty strong tackler, better in man-to-man than he would be in his own scheme, that kind of thing. But it did project him as a starter probably pretty early on there in the third round. So Dorian Strong out of Virginia Tech in the third round for me.
Anybody else in the third?
Nope.
Do you trade it out of the third with your other pick?
Yeah.
Okay. Dylan, recap.
I didn't have an option to trade out. I don't know where that pick went.
Well, I'm guessing it might have been
It might have been in one of the other
deals,
trades,
right?
yeah. But
right, where you moved up from that into the second round.
Yeah, but I did have 3 fourth-round picks.
Okay.
So that may explain it.
Dylan, what positions have you addressed already?
I went edge first round. I went corner second round.
Okay.
And then third round, I got the guard from Georgia, Tate Ratledge. If you don't know who he is, he's the guy with the mullet and mustache. He rocks it pretty good.
Duval would love that.
Yes, I think he rocks it better than Gardner Minshew, in my opinion.
Wow.
But he's one of the good leaders. If you remember at the end of the Sugar Bowl when they lost to Notre Dame, Kirby Smart kind of gave his, after he said everything he wanted to the media, he said that, it was Georgia has an offensive captain and defensive captain. And of the 130 players, they voted 2 guys, 95% for those 2 to be the captains. That's never been that way. The history of their tenure at Kirby Smart. And he's a good player, guard, a position of need, and seems like his leader's been a captain all year. So
okay, is that your only third rounder, or you have another?
What was 88? 88
be in the third round.
Okay, yeah, so I have another one.
Who you got?
I went the defensive back that's going back to Alabama for 2025, Dominique Jackson.
Okay, so you're looking for is he a corner or a safety?
It says corner.
Okay, so you're looking for defensive back help there.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, we're going to have a few of these that slip past us in the initial go-round. All right, so I got defensive tackle, guard, defensive end, because I felt the value was too good there. Look, we talk about the debate. Do you draft Abdul Carter at 5 when you've got your starting defensive ends? Because 5's got to be a starter if you're drafting him there, right? Here, I went with a little bit different approach. I already got Shamar Stewart, who is a 6'6", 290 type defensive end.
Yeah.
And I added Kyle Kennard out of South Carolina, who's a 6'5", 254. I see him as a perfect situational third down pass rusher, right? I feel like if it went this way, Stewart at his size, if they play 3-4, he might start at a defensive end position. Otherwise, maybe he's just a primary backup, or he could push, for playing time on certain sets. You move Trayvon Walker inside, whatever the case may be. Kennard, to me, is like a guy who's just coming off the edge on third down all day long. So this has been my big man draft so far. Defensive tackle, O-line, DN, and then with my second third-round pick, courtesy of the Minnesota Vikings, and Cam Robinson. And how many pressures did he allow this week? 12? I think, in the playoff game. Yeah. I took Gray Zabel, who, I'll be honest with you, when I took him, I'm like, he's standing out in terms of where their board had him. But I looked at PFF's rankings. They had him as the number 39 overall player. So chances are I'm not getting Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State with pick 92. But this was what I found interesting. He's another guy who played tackle but can project inside. If I'm not getting anything more than my full-time swing tackle, my next man up, to replace basically Cole Van Lanen, I guess. Saw this quote, Gray Zabel is a know-what-you're-getting lineman with the potential to be a decade-long starting center, is what they said about him. So, again, he's the guy who's talked about, hey, I played a lot of tackle. They think I could play different positions. He has played every position on the offensive line except center. But he's projected by some to be a long-term starting center in the NFL. I just thought, again, look, it's not like we just replaced Brandon Sheriff and we're done here, right?
No,
we need depth. We need quality, more bodies on this offensive line. So even if these guys don't start immediately, I think they can work their way into starting position and they can provide quality depth in the short term. So that's who I took in the third round. Who you got in round 4? Or
round 4.
Let's just do your next 3 picks. Let's do it that way because it's going to get difficult to remember with some of these numbers and exactly what round
they're all in the 4th round.
For you. All right.
Yeah,
that's
my
good.
next 3 picks, and then I don't pick again till the 7th. I don't
Okay.
know how that worked out. But 3 picks here in the 4th round. At 105, I went with edge Braden Swinson out of LSU, kind of that same deal you were talking about. I do want to address the depth at the kind of edge rush position for the Jaguars, and he is a bit more of an undersized guy, right? I don't think he's typically sized for a straight-up defensive end, but as a pass rusher, he's been effective. 8.5 sacks this year for LSU. He was an Oregon transfer a couple years ago, but his stock seems to be going up as we get to the early part of the draft process here. At 110, so 5 picks later, took running back Ollie Gordon II out of Oklahoma State, another one of these guys. He wasn't great this year. 2023 was his better year. So he'll have to explain why exactly that would be. But among the running back rankings, at least that I was looking at, he's considered somewhere 9 or 10 among the running backs somewhere in this draft, that kind of thing. He's more a big body guy than he is a scat back, that kind of thing. So he'd be kind of repeating the Tank Bigsby thing to some degree, right?
Okay.
But they're going to have to figure out a third back at some point there in the backfield, and it's the 4th round. So, and then at 125, offensive guard Luke Kandra out of Cincinnati. So continuing to address the interior of the offensive line, and you do have at least flexibility with a guy like Milam, right, who may be able to play outside if you need him to, because that's what he did in college. He can play all 5 positions potentially on the offensive line. So Kandra, among the better options I had available at that point. And so went with another interior offensive lineman there at 125.
All right, Dylan, your next 3.
105 went Lander Barton, the linebacker out of Utah. 125 I went Malachi Moore, the safety out of Alabama. And then at 140 I went with Austin Barber, who's returning to Florida. So I have his draft rights and I have the draft rights for Dominique Jackson from Alabama.
You're squatting on like Larry Bird back in the day with Red Auerbach. All right. So let's see. At 105 for me, I went safety, went back to that Michigan Wolverine factory, and took Rod Moore. This is might have been the only guy that I drafted ahead of what his PFF rank was. He was ranked 113th overall. I took him at 105. Projects as a free safety, and in his scouting report said basically equally adept at covering tight ends and wide receivers. When have we covered a tight end? Ever. right? So I thought, all right, let's see, get it to the depth and maybe work your way into a starting spot eventually. Cam Scatabo, the running back out of Arizona State, Tony. And again, I think this is silly. I don't think you're going to get him at pick 129.
Yeah, I think in my mock draft he went in the second round.
A wide receiver out of TCU who can play, believe it or not, he's played in the slot. He's lined up in the backfield. He is 6'5", 225. I don't know if he's they say he's not an accomplished route runner yet. So there's some rough edges you're going to need to grind off of this guy. But I thought at the very least gives us a different type of wide receiver in the room, gives you a red zone weapon at that size. Pro Football Focus ranked him number 51 overall. So again, how realistic is this list? Maybe not that much. Not that PFF is gospel, but that's who I took with pick 143 for the Jags. So what do you have left? Just a seventh rounder?
Seventh round picks.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I got 2 seventh-round picks at 220. Safety Jonas Sanker out of Virginia. More a special teams guy is at least the profile on him, but they said smart player that kind of plays within himself. It's kind of the description. He's not trying to do something he can't do. So it'll be more of a role kind of player if he does get onto the football field for him, but it's the 7th round. That kind of thing would make sense. And then at 249, another edge for me, Antoine Powell-Ryland out of Virginia Tech. More undersized even than Swinson was when we were talking about him a moment ago, but does have a lot of upside as a pass rusher potentially in the league. And again, 7th round, this is when you take a shot on something like that.
Yeah, Chad Ryder was talking about this is a good year to get edge rush deeper into this year's draft.
Yeah, I saw he was ranked something like 23rd among the edges in this draft in the 7th round. As many of them as there's going to be drafted, that might be, a bit better value than you would expect in the 7th round, but who knows?
Dylan, what do you got? How many picks do you have left?
I got 4 left.
Okay, give them to us.
I want D-tackle South Carolina, Tonka Hemingway at 143. I want center Gus Hartwig at 180, the Purdue center. At 220 went Jonah Coleman, the running back from Washington, and then the last 249 went D-tackle again, Alfred Collins, Texas. The D-tackle wasn't good value the first.
Just
4
didn't
rounds.
fall to you when you wanted it, right?
So I wanted D-tackle 2nd, 3rd round, but didn't work that way.
All right. So my last 3 picks here at 180, I took Jacob Parrish, who's a corner out of Kansas State, who is described again. I'm getting like 65 picks of value according to PFF. He's described as an outside man press corner. He's not a nickel guy. He's only 5'10", but he is an outside corner. So get in there, fight for a job. There may be one open for you this year, or at least try to provide some quality depth, play some special teams. Jay Higgins, a linebacker out of Iowa. This is more of a depth selection. He was first team All Big Ten 2 years ago. He is not a speedster, so maybe doesn't contribute as much on special teams. So when you're picking a linebacker that late, I thought at the very least he can be interior linebacker depth or practice squad guy. And then finally, J.J. Pegues, the defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. Might have been my favorite pick here at 249. Carried the ball. He's 6'2", 325. It was pick 249. He carried the ball 26 times and scored 7 rushing touchdowns this year. Okay? He had 10 sacks in his college career, again, as a defensive tackle. And at 325, wonder if he doesn't project as a nose in the NFL. And he's got some pass rush ability. 26 and a half tackles for loss in his time playing in the SEC was a super value, according to PFF, to get him there. So, all right, running through it, I had 11 picks. I went 6 on defense, 5 on offense, and I believe that was the way it went. And on offense, I got maybe I only went 4 on offense. I went offensive line, running back, wide receiver. Yeah, so I went 4 on offense, the other 7 on defense, 2 defensive tackles, 2 defensive ends, a safety, a corner, and a depth linebacker. How did it break down for you position-wise?
9 picks overall, 4 on offense, 5 on defense. Let's see. The positions wound up being wide receiver, offensive guard, defensive tackle there in the first couple of rounds. Then corner in the 3rd, edge, a couple of edges in the 4th and 7th round. Running back in the 4th, another offensive guard there in the 4th, and a safety in the 7th.
Dylan?
11 picks, 4 on offense, guard, center, tackle, running back, and then the defense I kind of got everywhere. I got 3 guys in secondary, 1 edge, 2 D tackles.
And you got draft rights for years to come on some of these
for two guys,
which is very nice.
Yes, one on offense, one on defense from that aspect.
All right. I have a feeling this will be laughable by the time the draft rolls around, like particularly if Pro Football Focus is at all close to projecting it. But, these are based on Pro Football Network's rankings in many ways, right? Because it's a simulated mock. It's not like there are 31 other people picking. They don't pick them straight down the line like the highest graded player. But generally, when you're taking a guy, he's probably the highest rated player left for Pro Football Network. So different sites are going to have different evaluations on these guys. I love the way this turned out, quite frankly.
If nothing else, I'm glad I learned a little bit about Wyatt Milam. Right? If the process in this did nothing else for me, at least I learned about that guy. That's something to keep an eye out for here over the next few weeks.
And I feel like Gray Zabel, though, those two guys are super intriguing to me in terms of their versatility. Both can play tackle in a pinch if you need them to. That's what they've primarily been. Both project, according to the scouts, as inside guys. One of them as a guard, another perhaps as a center. So you may, get some. I mean, imagine having a guard that is primarily a tackle that if he needs to play for you, if Anton Harrison's out for a month, you're like, oh, it's not like this is a new phase in this guy's athletic career. So anyway, had some fun with that. Keep sending them in. If you've got them, we've done them at Pro Football Network on their mock draft simulator, and we'll try to get these posted up on social media, and you can determine who you thought had the best outing in the initial go-round right here. Let's see. Dempsey, Ole Miss ran Pegues twice versus UF on 4th and short, stuffed them both times. Maybe the case. I'm not drafting him to be my short yardage running back.
How dare you draft that in the 7th round?
I'm just saying, it's kind of fun to have that guy who's athletic enough to consider running the ball.
Yeah.
I would imagine if you wanted a fullback in short yardage, the guy who can play tailback at 325 could probably also do that for you.
Yeah, Dylan was very aware of that. When the name came up, he was like, oh, yeah, that's the big guy they stuffed.
Yeah, they ran him against UF, right.
Yeah,
but he did. I mean, he still ran for like 86 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, how many defensive tackles got 30 carries?
Not many. Christian Wilkins used to get some back in the day for Clemson, but not too many of them. But hey, look, again, I'm not saying it's these are perfect in any way, shape, or form. It's more an exercise to kind of feel how you would fill things out.
But as a 7th round pick, if that actually happened, it'd be like, that's fun.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a whole lot of fun to have a guy that may have that kind of something to his game.
I'm drafting him for his 325 pounds and his 10 sacks.
Yeah.
But if he can give me a little bit of extra flexibility that I don't have to consider, I've got Brenton Strange if I want to play a fullback, right? Yeah, on a particular play, not as a full-time thing. But anyway, fun exercise. At least I enjoyed it. So let us know what you thought about that. 641-1010 if you want to hop in on a mock draft Wednesday. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tensions build.
3rd and 12. Let's go.
Plot thickens.
We got to get off the field.
Crowds roar. Tune in and let the show begin. Your home for live play-by-play is 1010XL.
Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here. You heard me talking all the time about Pella Windows and Doors. Golf ball crashed into my living room. You don't have to wait for that rare occurrence to happen before you decide maybe we need new windows in our house. I wanted to replace every window in the house, went with Pella. They're simply the best, according to Consumer Reports, tops in all the major window categories and tops in my experience as well. Great customer service, knowledgeable staff, and my house looks and feels better. That's right, more energy efficient if you go with Pella Windows and Doors. I replaced all the windows and the sliding glass door. What's your project? Well, check them out online at PellaJacks.com or stop by the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway.
Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Cancer Center with on-site imaging, including whole-body MRI, PET and CT scans, and mammography. Early detection is key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh.
I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait, but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners, so you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What'll I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
I'm Ben from Beard's Diamonds. My father and I buy our stones direct from the diamond cutters. No middleman, no big company overhead, no commission salespeople, and we pass the savings on to you. Before you buy anywhere else, remember, Beard's Diamonds will beat any competitor's price.
In the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com. It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10.
On 1010XL.
Make a resolution this new year to send all of your friends or family a Kuhn Flowers floral arrangement. E.T. here with 1010XL. Okay, how about sending just one person you love a floral arrangement? Kuhn Flowers can handle it.
Don't go through another year with all that high-interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Prosser here, and Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and personal loans, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. You can. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 904-999-1508, or visit loanpronto.com. Get your free quote now with no hard credit pull at 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Come on, admit it. Almost everyone you know seems to be playing pickleball now, right? So whether you just want to learn how to play or you're ready to show off your elite pickleball skills, the Y is the place for you. Visit our brand new McGuire Family Pickleball Center at the Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach. 5 top quality outdoor courts and 3 amazing indoor courts where you can learn about dinks, dill ball, falafel, the kitchen, and more pickleball slang at the Y.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right. Well, it seems like we may have struck a nerve with some. We've got a bevy of listener mocks that they've sent us in the last few minutes, leaning in. Some doing them at PFF, others at Pro Football Network. It's all good. So we'll take a look at what some of the folks out there are into. Somebody said that I gave their dream scenario. Just go with the big boys. Sign me up right now. That's like, I'm sure I will get more skill position oriented in some of them, maybe go wide receiver earlier or corner earlier, whatever. But yeah, I loaded up on D lineman, O lineman, Tone. More than half the picks went in that direction. And I felt like this was like a building blocks kind of draft for this team. If I put it all together, does that make them a Super Bowl contender this year? Well, not necessarily. And obviously, a lot would depend on what they do in free agency coupled with this, too.
5 of my 9 were on one or the other line of scrimmage.
On the line? Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I think I had 2 tackles, 2 ends, and 2 O-linemen. So, all right. Well, why don't we take a quick look around the rest of the NFL?
Now, Gems Around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
The Houston Texans have placed tight end Kate Stover on injured reserve. They also waived wide receiver Deontay Johnson after he spent just 2 weeks with the team.
Man, what a bad guy this guy must be.
So he'll be searching for his, 5th team this year?
I think somebody said he's played for a quarter of the NFL teams.
Yeah, that's correct.
Now. Is that right? He's played for 8 different teams in the NFL, or at least been on that roster for a brief period.
Cannot find a home. Deontay Johnson.
Or he finds one and then he wears out his welcome almost instantly.
Yep. Los Angeles Rams tight end Tyler Higbee was hospitalized following their wild card win on Monday night over Minnesota because he was coughing up a little blood, according to Rams head coach Sean McVay. He has already been released from the hospital, was able to travel with the team. McVay said that he is expected to be able to play this week there for the Rams. The Chicago Bears and New Orleans Saints have already scheduled interviews with now former Dallas head coach Mike McCarthy. I think Chicago's is today. New Orleans wants to talk to him next week. And Detroit listed running back David Montgomery as a full participant for their walkthrough yesterday. So it sounds like he may be able to get back on the field for the playoffs.
It does. And another eligible body for my fantasy playoff lineups out there. All right. Let's look at a few of these listener submissions, and then we'll, in our final segment, look at today's question of the day, focusing on 4 specific names for the 5th overall pick. This one, I'm sorry I don't have everybody's name attached to them. They send them in on the text line. I click on them, enlarge them. So these have come in on the text line. Let's just put it that way. Somebody did the first 4 selections for the Jags, went Abdul Carter, Walter Nolan, a defensive tackle out of Ole Miss, Tyler Booker, and Armaj Reed Adams, if that's how you pronounce it. Those latter 2 guards out of Alabama and Texas A&M. PFF gave them grades of A-, AA, and B+ on the selection. So that's a fun aspect of it over at PFF. You'll get a grade based on what they think of the guy, which, is obviously biased, but that's what we got to work on. Here's a full one. Somebody traded back to 15 in this one. In the process, ended up with, 13 picks, and including Atlanta's second rounder next year. So 13 plus the second rounder is what they came out of. I'll be honest with you, I don't know enough about the players yet in that 15 to 25-ish range. Other than if you're drafting a Pro Football Network, there's a couple guys that seem to slide, right? That maybe it's not representative of what would really happen. So I have tried to stay in that more premium group of players with the first selection when I've done these. Yeah. Emeka Egbuka, the wide receiver out of Ohio State, with the 15th selection. Kenneth Grant, who you took, defensive tackle out of Michigan. JT Tuimoloau, that guy out of Ohio State. He's an edge rusher. Corner Dorian Strong out of Virginia Tech. Center Jared Wilson out of Georgia. Rod Moore, who's one of my guys, safety out of Michigan. Jaden Roberts, a guard out of Alabama. Did you take Roberts, Dylan? Maybe not.
No, sir.
All right. Malachi Moore, safety out of Bama. We do tend to stick with the schools we know sometimes, right? Xavier Truss, a guard out of Georgia. Billy Bowman, safety out of Oklahoma. Tyrene Powell, linebacker out of Rutgers. Wide receiver Jimmy Horn out of Colorado. And Xavier Miller, a tackle out of Auburn. So definitely sticking with the big school. I saw Bama on here a couple of times. I saw Georgia on here a couple of times. Ohio State's on here a couple of times. Michigan's on here a couple of times. Look, if you're going to pick players and you're not quite sure who to take them out of the best schools, right? They seem to have the best players. Here's one sent in where they got Travis Hunter at 5. Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle out of Ohio State at 36. Tate Ratledge, that's a Dillon guy. Guard out of Georgia at 69. Ashton Gillette, edge rusher out of Louisville. Rod Moore, another one of my guys at the safety out of Michigan at 105. Cam Scatabo, the running back out of Arizona State. Kane Medrano, linebacker out of UCLA. Savion Williams. So you had 3 of the same ones I did with Williams, Scatabo, and Moore. Javari Ritzy, a defensive tackle out of North Carolina, and Miles Hinton, an offensive tackle out of Michigan. So a lot of bigs, again, which I think a lot of people are going to be focusing on. And then this final one, this is the one with 13 selections. I might have rolled through this one already. I think I did, looking at the names. They all look familiar. So anyway, we appreciate that, you taking the time out and submitting, what you've done, because it does take a little bit of effort. Kind of shocked. Somebody said on the text line, nobody has taken a replacement for Trevor. Are you really shocked, or are you just trying to be provocative? Do you really think the Jags are going to draft a replacement for Trevor Lawrence, no matter who the GM is? Do you really think that's going to happen?
In all seriousness, do you think that there's a chance they could draft one in the 6th or 7th round?
Yes.
For a backup?
Sure, why not?
They might, yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think the deal is with Beathard and Mac Jones? Beathard's probably gone, but Mac Jones...
Well, I think it depends on Mac's market, right? Yeah. If Mac gets, I don't know, $10 million to come in somewhere and be a bridge quarterback, I don't think the Jags should pay Mac Jones $10 million.
No.
To be Trevor's backup. I didn't see that high level of play. I mean, he's fine as a backup if he's playing for league minimum for you. And if that's what his market is, I'm not opposed to bringing him back. But, and look, I'm not opposed to bringing him back and drafting a quarterback in round 6 if you think there's a guy that you're like, I think I could develop this guy into something down the road. But that's what you're drafting, though, is you're drafting a long-term backup. Likely for this team, at least that would be the mentality, I think. So, yes, nobody's drafting a replacement for Trevor, nor will the Jags be drafting a replacement for Trevor. Not this year, not for the foreseeable future. It certainly appears. Anyway, we'll come back, take a look at today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. We said, given 4 options at pick number 5, which way would you like to go? We'll dig into that coming up. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and when you head into a brand new year with a boat show coming up, you've got a lineup of Honda and Coach pontoon boats that you want people to know about.
We do. We've got them in stock. It might still be a little chilly, but it's never too soon to start thinking about your next boat. We are going to be at the boat show January 24 to 26. You can come see us there. If you can't make it to our showroom, come see us at the boat show.
All sorts of ideas and opportunities to enjoy fun on the water with Cycles of Jacksonville. You can log on and check them out, or head to the showroom and be at the boat show.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
It's the time of year all our customers love. At Garber Auto Mall, every 2024 must go. Take advantage of thousands in discounts on all new Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Ford. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
When the heat's on high or the chill is too much, who you gonna call? Cool Cats Heating and Cooling is locally owned and operated with a perfect touch. You'll keep your home just right, day or night. AC to heating, don't take a beating. Call the coolest cats in town. With a 5-star Google rating, they're your neighbors. ready to help. So get your paw of approval from Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town. CoolCatsJax.com.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Dan and Jeff are going to be live from the brand new showroom at Tyson Sound and Security this Friday. You have to check out Tyson's showroom home theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. Did I mention Friday morning you can enter to win a $2,500 prize giveaway? Bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, now at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins and Monahan Jewelers.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and we're now in the third week of the new year. Have you lost 18 pounds yet? Well, you probably didn't choose Awaken 180 weight loss. I lost 18 pounds in my first 3 weeks alone. Switch it up and get your results at awaken180weightloss.com.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hairforme.com.
Hey gang, Prosser here, and I've been telling you for years about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Lifetime Enclosures right now running an awesome special for January. Get a complete enclosure done, get free flooring. Now that can save you some money. If you just need flooring, Lifetime Flooring also running a buy one room, get the second room free. Once again, only for January. Now offering flooring coating as well. So give them a call. I know I did. Visit their showrooms just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and this month I want to talk to you about welcoming the winds of change in your life. But so often, when we see the winds of change coming our way, our immediate response is to fight it. Friends, when you see things in your life changing, when the winds of change are coming your way, don't fight it, but embrace it. Recognize that God is stirring you up so that you too can soar like an eagle.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Bud Light and everyone at Anheuser-Busch want to remind you to get home safely every time. People are counting on you on the road and at home. Plan ahead with safe rides and don't forget to hydrate between beers. Bud Light encourages everyone to enjoy responsibly and socialize safely.
Hey, Icken here for Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code JAX, J-A-X, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, man. Run your game.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, a couple of things here as we get ready to wrap up. We gave you options in today's poll question presented by Chad and Sandy Real Estate. If the Jags decision came down to these four players at pick 5, who would you select out of those four? And somebody said none. Offensive line. All right, again, if the Jags came down and said these are the four highest rated players on our board, you would say let's not take one and let's take a lower rated player because he plays offensive line. Okay, maybe you disagree. Maybe you think those offensive linemen will be rated the same. That's not the point of today's question.
No.
If this were the 4 players they had it narrowed down to, who would you take? You would not, I guess you would operate in the different reality where they hadn't narrowed it down to these 4 players. That's your prerogative. All right, so we went with Abdul Carter, the defensive end out of Penn State, who many will say is the best player on the board, perhaps in the entire draft, right? But do you have a glaring need for it? Defensive tackle Mason Graham, who many will say is the best defensive tackle on the board, but some will question whether he's worth a top 5 pick. And, again, if Balky's picking, and that's the thing. We don't know who's picking, but let's presume it's him. I've heard the short arms issue with Mason Graham as well, so immediately take him off the Jags wish list. Is it cornerback Will Johnson, who many would tell you is the best pure corner in this draft, or is it wide receiver Tet McMillan, who I haven't seen yet, Tony, anyone suggesting that he's not the number 1 wide receiver prospect in this draft. Not saying he's the only good wide receiver prospect, but here's one mock that I just brought up. Has Carter 4th, Graham 5th, Johnson 6th, and McMillan 8th. So they're all right there in the conversation.
Yeah.
Right? By the way, no offensive linemen until 9 in that. Again, that's not to say that those offensive linemen, by the time the draft rolls around, will not have coalesced into consensus top 5 picks. And anyway, I'm sure we'll have plenty of questions about offensive line if you want to go that direction. Keeping in mind you're drafting probably a guard, which is generally an easier position to find throughout the draft. If you're taking him at 5, is that the best positional value?
Right.
Hard to say. All right, your case for your guy. Who's your guy?
I have a feeling this will, if you ask me this again tomorrow, my opinion might have changed.
Okay.
Right? Like, I am so wildly all over the place with how I feel about all of this at this point in time. But I do, because of some of the concerns I have that you just mentioned about Mason Graham, he's probably off the list for me among the consideration here. The Abdul Carter, because of the position thing, I can understand, and the depth of edge rush in this draft, right? I think the combination of those two things probably knocks him down a little bit on the list. Not that I don't think he's worth a top 5 pick. I think he is. But it probably knocks him down the list because I think all 4 of these guys are worth a top 5 pick. So it's differentiating between different things here. For me, when we were doing the mock draft today, the 2 guys that it came down to for me were Will Johnson and Tet McMillan. Like, that's where I was having to debate in my own mind which way would I want to go. At this point in time, I'd go with Tet McMillan. And it's the lack of depth in the wide receiver class in this year's draft. So you have the opportunity to maybe get the best wide receiver in this draft. He's more the big body kind of typical guy.
6'5", 210.
Right, to play on the opposite side of Brian Thomas Jr. Think he could really open some things up for what they would want to do in the offense. So today, my answer would be Teteroa and McMillan.
Okay. I don't think it's outrageous. Yeah. And I know we read earlier, like 12% of the people are voting for him to go the wide receiver route, and some were upset that how dare you address anything but defense. Again, you got plenty of picks.
Yeah.
And I do think this exercise has helped me go, oh, you know what? Let's look into these edge rushers that are available here in the 3rd round. Oh, yeah. You know what? They're pretty highly regarded by some scouting services. And you heard Chad Ryder from NFL.com tell us in hour number 1, he thinks that might be the best position in terms of depth in this entire draft.
And look, if you're taking him at 5, he's got to start somewhere. So who are you moving where, to make that kind of thing happen? I think that's part of it too. And again, it's not that I don't think Abdul Carter's worth a top 5 pick. I think he is, right? Worth a top 5 pick in this year's draft. Is that, if I had the option of all 4 of these guys, no, that would not be the direction I would go with that 5th pick. There are other guys that I like the value of them more to this team. Right, and I think the evaluations between all 4 of these guys are really, really close.
It's tough because if you knew you were getting a TJ Watt level player,
absolutely,
how do you pass that up at such an important position? I don't know that that'll be the case with Abdul Carter. Some have suggested it may be.
Right, if someone says that here in the next couple of weeks, I may go, oh.
Right,
right,
and you're like, well, how are we going to figure? And then because you'd look back at 2 years ago, man, we were really worried about how are we going to get TJ Watt 2.0 on the field, right? And then you figure it out, right? And that's the thing. It's one thing to say figure it out. It's another to have a defensive coordinator who comes in with an obvious plan to figure it out, right? Let's just not draft him and then figure it out later. If we're going to draft this guy, please have a vision in place if you're going to spend the 5th pick. Dylan, who would you vote for in this quartet?
I would probably go Mason Graham. I'm fine with the first 3. I'm 100% anti wide receiver, top 5, top 10. I just don't know how you can change the identity of your team and say you want to be physical and you want to be this and you want to be a hard-nosed team and go receiver.
Would you pass up Jamar Chase if he were there?
For this team, yes.
You would? Okay.
Because receiver, we've seen, look at this past year's draft. I know that it was last year, but the amount of receivers that went late first and the second and the third, and you can get receivers all over the draft, the way that the college football is being played. The value of receiver you can get in later rounds. You can't get value in later rounds at the line of scrimmage, specifically D tackle and corner.
JJ Pegues, 7th round. He'll also rush for a touchdown or 2. All right, so you're going to Mason Graham. I go Will Johnson, I think. And again, in my mock, Abdul Carter wasn't on the board. But I have a hard time convincing myself to go that direction because I don't know what the plan would be to maximize. And some people have said, well, you play Josh Hines-Allen 70%, you play Trayvon 70%, and then this guy gets 60%, right? The 30% from each of them that they're not playing, and they're playing about an equal amount. But do I want my best lineman? Like Max Crosby plays like 94% of the snaps. Why does Josh Allen have to be limited to 70?
Right.
I don't know if that's the case. So I'd probably go with an instant starter at corner in Will Johnson. I thought it was wasn't that what Chad Ryder said? This is a position that really does fall off, right? You're not going to fight. If you want a corner, you're better off getting him early if you're looking at a starter this year.
Wide receiver and corner.
He seems to be a walk-in day one starter from what most people say.
Yeah.
So none of us went with Abdul Carter. I don't think he's a bad – look, these are all reasonable ones to debate, right? Will Johnson at the moment, 34.7%. We got about 450 votes on this since 9:18 this morning. That's a pretty good return. 34.7% go with Johnson. 32.4% go with Mason Graham. 21% on Abdul Carter. And wide receiver Tet McMillan at about 12% right now. And that would include one Tony Smith vouching for him. So, look, a lot of ways to do it. And it's kind of like the GM thing with me. Do I want to change the GM? Yes, I do. Okay. But am I open to the fact that Trent Baalke might make some good selections? Sure. I hope that's the case. If he's still in charge of the draft by the time it rolls around in April, it worked out fine for Brian Thomas Jr. Certainly, as somebody said, he's going to take somebody from the SEC who's got no production and some great traits. Well, Brian Thomas Jr. had a lot of production and some great traits and went from the SEC and turned out to be a very solid Rookie of the Year candidate on the offensive side. He's a finalist, one of the 6 finalists on the offensive side this year. So, again, whether it's the person I want making the decision or not doesn't mean every decision they make I'm going to agree or disagree with. I hope that whomever it is takes good players. And if they don't take the guy I want in the first round, I hope they've got a good vision for how they fill out and utilize the rest of the picks. And again,
absolutely,
free agency will change so much of this, potentially. At least, maybe not so much. Depends on how active they are this year, going after the big-name guys. But it'll change
But you'll know who's coming in and who's going out. Right. Like, you'll at least have some idea of whatever team building is going on in 2025. Step one's going to be free agency. And so they're going to have done whatever they're going to have done in that regard by the time we get to the draft. And, yeah, that would change some things that you might be willing to do in the draft. If you sign one of the safeties, and it's one of the few things in free agency that there's a bunch of, is safeties. Right. They're all over the place. So if they sign one or two of those guys to come in and kind of replace that defensive backfield, are you still going to be drafting safety in the top 2-3 rounds? Right? Like, it changes the thought process for all these kind of things. And right now, you're working on whatever information you want. Like, we had one gentleman who turned in his mock draft and said, I'm assuming anyone who's a free agent is gone right? Like not assuming they're bringing in anything in free agency. It's the team as is. Fine, that's fair.
Absolutely.
At this point in the process.
And then we'll adjust every week, and maybe we'll make some conditions like, hey, no trading outside the top 10, or you can't pick certain players beyond a reasonable range, or whatever. But who's to say what a reasonable range is, right? I mean, guys are evaluated differently by different services, by different general managers and front offices. And, sometimes you're like, oh, this guy's a surefire first rounder. And the NFL gets it wrong a bunch. Taking guys in the first round that are complete busts from day one.
Sure.
So, anyway, it's fun. Never went that deep before, but we'll be doing it a lot more. And we appreciate everybody who participated by sending theirs in today. All right, let's welcome in Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
All right, hello, Mia O'Brien. How are
Hi,
you?
friends. How we doing?
We're okay. So today we had a draft question, and, we're going to have plenty of them in between now and April. And in this one, we said the Jags have narrowed down their selection to 4 names.
Yep.
Okay, with the 5th pick.
Yep.
It's Abdul Carter, Mason Graham.
Correct.
Will Johnson.
Correct.
And Tet McMillan.
Yep,
Okay?
correct. I would agree with that sentiment.
Okay, who?
Independent of who the head coach is.
Who are you taking?
Will Johnson.
That's who I'm taking as well
Okay.
for today.
I'm
I
glad,
may change tomorrow.
I'm glad we're on the same page. I anticipate even if Trent Baalke is still here. I don't have any new information. Don't ask me, please. But if he is
Do you have any new information?
as of right now, Trent Baalke is still employed.
Even said please.
I
Mike.
know.
And if he is still,
What do you think I'm going to do?
if he is still employed in April, and I understand the thresholds and the interests that he has and the tendencies he tends to lean towards during the draft process, even then, I would still say Will Johnson.
Mason Graham's got those short arms.
Oh yeah, and
They're
he also was coached by Jim Harbaugh. So was Will Johnson. So I don't know if that knocks.
Can never take a player from Michigan.
Yeah, I don't know if that
Again.
knocks him down the pecking order.
Well,
at all.
he and Hutchinson both had that short arm syndrome. They like that up there.
The
in
T-Rex.
Wolverine
Yes,
country.
exactly.
So,
They don't like that. So
Yes, it just makes me think of Step Brothers. To grow up and be a T-Rex and run around the backyard. I lost my inner dinosaur, Tony.
That's right.
Mia, what do you have coming up today?
Oh, our friend Evan Klosky of WTSP in Tampa going to join us at 1:20 to talk a little Liam Cohen. He also is an Ohio State grad, so I know Lauren is very excited to pepper him with questions about the Buckeyes. We're also going to begin today's program not only with the latest on the Jaguars head coaching search, but a debate between the three of us. We did one last week about the NFL MVP. We will debate, even though I think it's already a foregone conclusion and the votes have already been tallied, even if the result has not been revealed, NFL Coach of the Year. So get your names in mind. Interact with us. The text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, the MyBookie Digital Studio. Looking forward to a nice debate.
Yeah, look, I hear people like, this is a regular season thing, and it doesn't take into account, look, Kevin O'Connell did a terrible job in the playoffs. Yes, it's a regular season award, like most awards are. It's not
Well,
that
just
difficult
brace
to
yourself.
figure
I
out.
said it yesterday, Mike. Brace yourself for the Sunday game between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. I mean, sorry, the Ravens and the Bills, but that is what the discourse will be coming out of that
Are you saying they don't vote on the Super Bowl champion?
Correct.
Okay.
No, we also don't vote who gets in the playoffs, which is why I don't care if teams get blown out in the first round. They earn their way in.
The Heisman, though, you have up until, wait, you vote for that before the playoff as well.
Oh, yes.
Who would have
you do.
thought?
I mean, it's just the way it goes.
And
I guess
before the end of the year.
Yeah, conference championships, technically, I guess. You could wait to cast your ballot until after conference championships.
And they do it how they do it, and whatever. It's not at the end of the world. To me, it matters more to some, but that's what makes the world go round.
Embrace debate.
Have a great show.
Thank you.
All right, Mia O'Brien with the Helmets and Heels crew coming your way for the next couple hours. Thanks to Chad Ryder from NFL.com for stopping by today. Again, I really appreciate everybody taking a little time out. Doesn't take long, but it still takes a little effort to go through and do one of these mocks and submit it. So we appreciate that, and we will switch up parameters in future weeks. But that'll do it for us today. Oh, by the way, tomorrow, Hayes Carline talking Jags. Brian Sexton talking Jags on the program. What else would they be talking on Jaguars Today? I'm not sure, but that's what they'll be doing tomorrow. So definitely tune in for that. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you for listening to Jaguars.